the news at 7. Adverse effects of Naira swap continues as Akure residents face more hardship over rejection of old Naira notes by banks and traders. INEC forecloses election in 240 polling units across Nigeria. Abuja pastor in trouble for brandishing AK-47 during Sunday's sermon. And from the foreign scene, 19 people died during attacks in Burkina Faso. Good evening and thank you for joining us on Osrc News at 7. My name is Timile Falade. There was confusion today in Akure, the Ondo State capital, as banks, markets, women and commercial drivers rejected old Naira notes as against the Supreme Court order. The situation has created untoward hardship to residents who had thought the old Naira notes would still run concurrently with the new ones. Joy Powers will bring the report in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, the Kano State Consumer Protection Council has closed down a supermarket after the management refused to accept old Naira notes from customers. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje ordered the closure of the store, as confirmed by the acting chairman of the council, Bafa Danagudi, and the senior special assistant to the governor on social media, Abubakar Ibrahim. The governor, a supporter of a professional implementation of a Naira redesign policy, had held discussions with the Central Bank of Nigeria, bank managers, security heads and traditional leaders to find ways to alleviate the difficulties faced by the public. At least 5 states, including Kano, had sued the federal government over the deadline for 3 old Naira notes. As the world commemorates World Radio Day, media professionals have been tasked to enhance societal harmony through factual reportage and enlightening programs. The power of a mass communication medium, according to veteran broadcasters, is one that must be guided jealously against misuse. Said Aribisala reports that the theme for this year's commemoration is Radio and Peace. The reports were brought in the course of a bulletin. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says 240 polling units across Nigeria do not have any registered voters, which will impede conduct of the general elections in those locations. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu made the disclosure after a meeting with political parties in Abuja today. Yakubu recalled that the Commission had made efforts to redistribute voters to polling units in order to avoid the congestion that made voting cumbersome in many of them nationwide. According to him, this requires the redistribution of voters to new polling units in proximate locations. Still on electoral matters, 2 weeks before the presidential election, the Labour Party in the Southwest has collapsed its structure in the region into the All Progressives Congress. The group also declared its support for the presidential candidate of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Speaking with journalists in Akure, the Ondo State capital, the Southwest chairman of the Labour Party, Mr. Banji Omotosho, explained that their journey into the APC was facilitated by the national coordinator of the Southwest agenda for Asiwaju Tinubu, Dr. Dayo Adeyeye, and other members of the group. Omotosho would led the party leadership to collapse its structure, said the leaders of the Labour Party decided to quit the party because it was not viable and lacked the clout to win the forthcoming general elections. The Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) has dismissed claims suggesting that a certain 2 billion naira, which was given by Mr. Peter Obi to churches under the umbrella of CAN, has been misappropriated. A statement by the president of CAN, Archbishop Daniel Oko, stated that the petition, which was addressed to his office, cannot best be described as a failed attempt to drag the apex Christian body into the politics of 2023. He, however, noted that CAN will investigate the source of the letter in the interest of the public, insisting that the purported letter of petition as its contents are not only true but malicious. Meanwhile, the special advisor to Mr. Peter Obi on strategic alliances, Valentine Ozigo, has said the claim suggesting a cash gift was given to CAN by the Labour Party flag bearer is nothing but fake news. Mr. Ozigo alluded to CAN's statement, stressing that the individual who was alleged to have made the claim has gone on to deny it. According to Ozigo, Peter Obi remains untainted by the fake news being peddled by those he called leaders of other parties. The People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council has announced the cancellation of the rally of its candidate Atiku Abubakar in Port Harcourt. The PDP Presidential Campaign Council chairman in Rivers State, Senator Lee Meba, cited that the presidential campaign planned earlier this week would no longer hold, citing insecurity. Senator Meba stated this expected victory of Atiku Abubakar does not worth the blood of any Rivers man or women. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, President Muhammadu Buhari has declared that the eyes of the nation and global community are on the Nigeria Police Force and all law enforcement agencies. The president stated this when he commissioned the newly procured police operational assets, vehicles, crowd control, and anti-riot equipment at the force headquarters in Abuja. President Buhari, who was on Friday briefed by the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba, on the operation order and action plan for the polls, expressed confidence in the level of preparedness of the police for the exercise. The president told the police chief that his expectation of a security agency to provide adequate security that would foster a credible exercise remains high. You're still watching OSRC News at 7. We'll take a quick break now. Do stay with us. To OSRC News at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Commissioner of Police Federal Capital Territory Command Sadiq Abubakar has made a recommendation to the Inspector General of Police Usman Baba to dismiss the police officer Inspector Musa Audu, who will be facing an orderly from trial for handing over his rifle to the presiding pastor house on the Rock, Babuja chapter, Oche Aigbe, on Sunday. Reports say Inspector Audu and Pastor Aigbe have also been detained by the Intelligence Response Team, Force Intelligence Bureau, Garki, Abuja. It was gathered that Aigbe had caused his chair on Sunday when he mounted the pulpit carrying an AK-47 rifle during the second service, which frequently has a high turnout of a congregation who comes from different parts of the FCT. Brandishing the gun, the pastor picked his way to the altar as many members of his congregation exchanged glances, trying to understand what was happening. It was, however, not known if the gun he brandished was loaded or not. However, sources within House on the Rock Church revealed that the church founder, Pastor Paul Adefarasi, has not been happy with Aigbe concerning the situation, and Aigbe may likely be transferred out of Abuja. The source also said the senior church members had been angry with Aigbe throughout yesterday, adding that the pastor had not been himself since the report of the incident made it to the public. Meanwhile, the first PRO, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, on his Twitter handle, confirmed that the police had commenced an investigation into the incident, adding that the Inspector General of Police had ordered the CP, FCT to handle the case. In the meantime, the Department of State Services has confirmed the invitation of a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Femi Fani-Kayode, over his allegation of plans by some military personnel to seize power. The military had since denied the allegations, pledging its loyalty to the Constitution and the democratic system in place. On Monday morning, Fani-Kayode, however, announced that he had been invited by the DSS, but said he would honor the invitation because he had nothing to fear. Spokesperson for the DSS, Peter Afunaya, said Fani-Kayode arrived at the service office at 9 this morning for questioning. An early morning fire has razed the building of 3-bedroom flats and 3 shops following a suspected power surge. A statement from the spokesperson, Kwara Fire Service, Mr. Hakim Hassan, said the incident took place at about 3:24 a.m. in Ilorin West local government area of Kwara State. The statement also urged citizens to always cultivate the habit of switching off their electrical appliances before bedtime, noting that doing so would help prevent the chances of fire incidents in homes. Meanwhile, the owner of the burnt shops, Mrs. Bukola Benjamin, said the goods and property lost in the inferno would amount to about 5 million naira and called for government's assistance. And now back to the story on Naira swap compliance. There was confusion today in Akure, the state capital, as banks, market women and commercial drivers rejected old Naira notes as against the Supreme Court order. The situation has created untoward hardship to residents who had thought the old Naira notes would still run concurrently with the new ones. Our reporter Joy Pius now completes the story.
Nigerians were due to turn in old 1,000, 500 and 200 Naira banknotes in exchange for redesigned ones by Friday last week as part of central bank initiative to mop up liquidity in circulation and enforce cashless policy. Supreme Court of Nigeria had also prevented the government from enforcing a Friday deadline to swap old banknotes for new ones. Despite the atmosphere of relief that greeted the Supreme Court's order suspending the deadline for acceptance of old Naira banknotes as legal tender, compliance was near zero across the banks in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Market women, shopping malls, and commercial drivers have equally rejected the old Naira notes. Many Nigerians lament the inability to deposit old Naira notes in banks as they refused them. They cried out to CBN to obey the Supreme Court order.
All over is old money, and that old money, you cannot spend it out because one that they rejected from me is still with me now.
Also, most automated teller machines, ATMs, were without cash, indicating further deterioration in the cash supply.
I have enough in the bank, but there's no way for me to collect the money.
Last week I was here 3 days. I couldn't collect anything. Okay, I thought today, because the February 10 things will begin to improve. That's why I came this morning and see now, nothing.
The plan has caused controversy, with residents saying there are not yet enough new notes available, leading to chaotic scenes at banks.
Here we are again. Look at old men sitting down, aged people, senior citizens that ought to be at home, people bringing them money, see them. So we are here again, waiting, hoping that at the end of the day we'll get something, only to be told that they're only working on the machine.
Though the Central Bank of Nigeria is yet to react to the court order, many have interpreted the silence of the Apex Bank to mean acceptance. They called on the federal government to make sufficient money available for the smooth running of the economy, adding that moving the country to a cashless society should be gradual. Joy Pius, OSRC News.
Gunmen have burnt the Oguta High Court located in the Oguta local government area of Imo State. It was gathered that the attackers arrived around 11:30 p.m. and attacked the facility located inside the local government headquarters. It was gathered that the Magistrates Court's Registry, Appeal Court Record Office, File Room, Secretary to the High Court Judge's Office, Office of the High Court Bailiff, the Chamber of the High Court Judge were burnt. The sole administrator of Oguta local government area, Ofili Jioma, said that the incident had been reported to security agents. He assured journalists that investigations would unravel the faces of the attackers. You're still watching OSRC News at 7, and now back to the story on World Radio Day. As the world commemorates World Radio Day, media professionals have been tasked to enhance societal harmony through factual reportage and enlightening programs. The power of the mass communication medium, according to veteran broadcasters, is one that must be guided jealously against misuse. Sahid Aribisala reports that the theme for this year's commemoration is Radio and Peace.
Since the invention of radio and its deployment in the mid-19th century as a medium of mass communication, it has continued to evolve as the go-to platform for many across the world to get information. Recognizing this important role, the United Nations General Assembly in 2012 adopted February 13 as World Radio Day. 11 years after, the theme for year 2023 World Radio Day is Radio and Peace, spotlighting the medium of communication as a veritable tool to advance peace.
Radio plays a fundamental role in counseling, mediation, and reconciliation for harmonious human relations, promoting peace to overcome civil, national, and international conflicts.
To understand the power of radio in this light, ahead of Nigeria's 2023 general election, this reporter sought the audience of a veteran Nigerian broadcaster, Chief Sonya Onyison, who was a victim of the misuse of radio in 1983. At gunpoint, Chief Onyison, who was general manager of Radio Nigeria in Ondo State, was coerced to relay an election result which sparked crisis in the state.
Ideally, is to ensure that everything that stands for truth, peace, justice, and equity should be promoted. But at that time, that radio was not set up to promote any of those things. It was set up to advance the cause of a political party. And because it didn't do what it was supposed to do, it got attacked. And of course, when you attack a radio station, the person you remember first is the head of that station, whether he knows anything about it or not.
The veteran broadcaster believes to achieve peace through radio, owners of broadcast stations and practitioners must act professionally.
This is a lesson to those coming behind me, to say, look,
watch the kind of people you work for. Make sure that your principle in life is in conformity with what you are asked to do. If it doesn't work out for you, have the good sense to drop the job and go.
Chairman, Nigeria Union of Journalists in Ondo State, Leke Adegbite, enjoined his colleagues to follow the National Broadcasting Code and censor politicians who tend to eat up the polity.
We've learned our lesson over the years because we know how sensitive misuse of radio can cause, how it can cause violence in our society. The history of 1983 election, post-election violence is still in our memory. For those who were not even alive, we have read the history of that particular incident.
Associate commentator Bolu Esho stressed the need for radio stations to create more local content to drive the message of peace through culture and entertainment.
Honestly, it's a wonderful thing. I will really, commend on whoever is behind that idea, for coming up with that special radio. Because let me be sincere with you, I had an idea of most of the languages, local languages that we have in Ondo State via the radio in those days when they were bearing OSBC, in the 70s through 80s. That was when, you have special requests from each language that constitute the state. Then you have people having this folklore, they have things like that in the past then. So I think that is what that special radio, I think that is Alalaye, I think that is what they call it. That is what Alalaye is trying to rejig and bring back to the system. And it's a good one.
As the world commemorates this year's Radio Day, amidst the current evolution in the industry, advancing peace through factual reportage and programs will help listeners make informed decisions and understand that peace is the perfect path to tow. Sahid Aribisala, OSRC News.
And now to the foreign scene. 19 people, including 9 volunteers with the armed forces, have been killed in 2 attacks in jihadists turned Burkina Faso. It was gathered that 7 members of a volunteer force were killed in a mass attack on Thursday in the northwestern village of Dembo. Local sources said a terrorist group on Sunday killed 12 people, including 2 members of a volunteer group at Yagatenga, a village near the eastern border with Togo and Ghana. And now to sports. Sunshine Stars Football Club have picked maximum points after defeating Niger Tornadoes 2-0 in match day 7 tie at the Ondo State Sports Complex in Akure. The Edith Agoye tutored side wasted no time in ensuring that the 3-point target was secured as Udom Ekereted rose eyes to not home, after which Samson Olashupo put the icing on the cake. OSRC's Benga Oluwajano now reports.
Sunshine Stars' dominance became evident in both halves, with good defense backline and a disciplined midfield to cut off moves by the visitors from Mina. Sunshine Stars defender Udom Ekerete slotted home the first goal, nodding home from a corner kick. Goal sensation Samson Olashupo thereafter slotted home following a superb team play at the edge of the vital area, with David Onovo providing the assist. The Ondo State sponsor side showed good football artistry to the admiration of the Super Eagles coach Jose Pizarro and the teaming home fans, dominating possession but could not add to the scoreline as the first half ended 2-0.
Is my goal. Of course, if I can share my experience, if I can share my knowledge about everything, I can do. But it's not my main goal. My main goal, I want to win next AFCON. For that I signed the Super Eagles. Come here for that. I think if I improve my knowledge, my because I come from Europe for improve or for know better about the costumes, the culture, about everything that happened with the people here is better to me.
Sunshine Stars gaffer Edith Hagoye, who addressed journalists after the match, described it as a good one for his side, assuring fans of similar quality displays in subsequent matches. Niger Tornadoes head coach Abubakar Bala said his team will go back to the drawing board and work on its tactics. Sunshine Stars have now garnered 12 points from 7 matches. The next play Takada FC in Uyo on Wednesday. Bengal Wajano, West House News.
Before we go tonight, let's remind you that there was confusion today in Akure Ondo State capital as banks, market women and commercial drivers rejected old naira notes as against the Supreme Court order. The situation created untoward hardship for residents who had expected the old naira notes to run concurrently with the new ones. We also informed you that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has said 240 polling units across Nigeria do not have any registered voters, which will impede conduct of the general elections in those locations. And finally, President Pastor, House on the Rock Abuja chapter, Uche Aigbe, and the police officer are currently in trouble with police authorities over the act of the pastor who reportedly collected AK-47 rifle from the police officer and was brandishing same during a sermon on Sunday. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.